Rosh Hashanah shechal liyot b'Shabbat. So there's a lot of halachot that come into play because the holiday falls out on Shabbat. For example, there are many changes and additions that are made in the tefillah itself. For example, Maran in Siman Tafkuf Tzadichet writes that the minhag, when Rosh Hashanah falls out on Shabbat, in minhag of Shabbat, we say Sitkatecha. And the reason being is that even though normally on a Yom Tov we would not say Sitkatecha, we would say Yishem, however, it's the day of the Mishpat, and over there we say Mishpatecha Tehom Rabbah. So therefore it's appropriate to mention Sitkatecha on Shabbat Rosh Chodesh, on Shabbat Rosh Hashanah, and that's the minhag of Damascus, and the Kafahim brings it down as well. Although the Ramah brings down that some had the custom in Ashkenaz not to say it, Mishnah Berurah explains because again it's a Yom Tov. But again, every community follows the tradition. It seems the majority of minhagim of Sefaradim is to say Sitkatecha. Another example would be what Maran writes in Tav Kuf Tzadi Tet. Maran says that on Motzei Shabbat, which is the second night of Rosh Hashanah, we have to say Vatodi'enu in the Amidah. Vatodi'enu would take the place of a normal Atachon Antanu that we would say on Motzei Shabbat. Instead of saying Kodesh Kechol, we're actually going from Kodesh to Kodesh. Cham ben Tzion, Alav Shlom in order Tzion Gimal has a Chidush. Normally, if a person forgets Atachon Antanu, let's say on a Friday and a Saturday night, and he eats before making Havdalah, he eats, and as a result, he realizes he didn't say Atachon Antanu in Arbit. The Hakamim put a knas on him, and he has to repeat the Amidah. However, Hakam ben Tzion says that would not be the case if he got Vatodi'enu. Same case, he prayed the Amidah, he forgot Vatodi'enu when he ate. They don't knas him to pray the Amidah. Again, he makes a chiluk. He says, Atachon Antanu was a takana, but Shekeres the Gedolah. They made a knas if you forgot their text. However, Vatodi'enu was made from Rav and Shmuel. Those are Amoraim. They didn't make a knas on the Vatodi'enu. Another halakha that comes into play, obviously, is the subject of tashlich. Although Maran does not bring the custom of tashlich in Shulchan Aruch, the Ramah brings it down, and he says that the custom is to go on the first day of Rosh Hashanah to the river, and they read some Pesukim of Rahamim, including the Pasuk of Tashlich b'Mesudot Yam, Kol Hatotam. Because the Ben Ish Chai and Od Yosef Hai points out that those people that think that they're just going to shake the lapel of their jacket and get rid of their sins, says they're making a mistake. It's more symbolic to do that, but of course it takes 30 days of Elul, Rosh Hashanah, Aseret Teshuvah, Yom Kippur, V'kul Hai Ve'ulai. This over here is just a remez that we're trying to get rid of the Chitzulim and Kedipot after we do all the preparations. Nonetheless, the custom of Tashlich clearly is brought down by Rabbeinu Arish. Al Kavanot talks about it as well. The She'elah is to do the Tashlich on a Shabbat. Mishnah Berurah said that some communities had the custom not to do it on Shabbat for the simple reason that most people need a sidur to make the tashlich, and they would go outside the city. There was no eruv over there, and they would come to carry the sidur. So therefore, they said no tashlich. However, that's not the opinion of the Ben Ish Chai, and it's not the opinion of Rabbeinu Arashash and Hakam ben Tzion, Hakam Avadia, Aleim Shalom, and all really the Sfaradim hold that, especially I say that when it comes out on Shabbat, we make the tashlich. Why do I say especially? Because the Ben Ish Chai writes in Torah Lishma that on the time to make the tashlich is after mincha on even on the regular Rosh Hashanah. The Arizal said to make it b'sha'ah close to sunset, right before Shkiyat Hama. There's a reason for it because that's when Adam Rishon's judgment came out that he was exonerated. On this day, 5,781 years ago, on this day, at that time, the Midrash says, B'sha'ah 12, Adam Rishon yatsa b'dimos. He got exonerated. Therefore, we come exactly at that time to make the tashlich davka close to sunset. So therefore, he says, and on Shabbat, we know it's et ratzon. In a regular Shabbat, Mincha time is et ratzon. But I need to filatin lecha Adonai et ratzon. The Ben Ish Chai, incidentally, in that Teshuvah Torah Lishma says that's what on Shabbat, Rosh Hashanah, when you take out the Torah, you're supposed to say, "V'ani tefilatin lecha Hashem et ratzon." He says, "Adrabah." Now you have a double header. You have Rosh Hashanah with Shabbat. It's double et ratzon. So because Sheken, you should make tashlich on Shabbat because you have much more mercy. And therefore, the minhag of the Sfaradim is to make tashlich. You could ask a question: Hakam, if they made a gezerah against the shofar, they might come to carry it, which is a serious thing. So certainly we should make a gezerah that Iman carries Sidur. And I gave you the answer already in the question. Because it's so serious, shofar, Adam Bahul, a person gets nervous that he's not going to fulfill the shofar, he might come to camp. But the Tashlik is only a minhag. We're not Roshesh that a guy's going to carry a Sidur and get all flustered because of a minhag. That's what Echad Ben Sion wants to say. And therefore, the Maaseh, we do not gozer on that you might carry a Sidur. We do it on the porch over here. We have a Eruv. And therefore, it would be permissible. It should be pointed out that another thing that happens on the Shabbat of Rosh Hashanah is Seudah Shlishit. Although the halakha allows one to eat a Seudah on Shabbat Yom Tov, let's say, which is Erev Yom Tov, normally they don't want you to eat a Seudah on Erev Yom Tov, so they want you to go into Yom Tov, that you should have the Seudah B'te'avon. But in this case, it's a Seudat Mitzvah. So Mishnah Berurah brings out in the Halachot Yom Tov that it's okay to eat even after you pray Mincha Ketana. You can eat a kabetza, even more of bread, and you have no problem going into Rosh Hashanah, because it's a mitzvah to eat the Seudah Shlishit, although it probably would be preferable to pray Mincha Gedolah, although it's tricky on Rosh Hashanah, I understand, but to pray Mincha Gedolah and eat Seudah Shlishit a little earlier, so you can eat a regular Seudah Shlishit without any problems, although there's no problem. Even if you pray Mincha Ketana, you could have a regular Seudah, meaning more than a kabetza bread. It's just logistically difficult because you're in the shul and you're going to go home, you have to come back, so probably better off. Anyway, the first day we get out a little earlier because there's no shofar, and then go home to eat, maybe come back 2-3 o'clock, pray mincha, and go home. But what I suspect is going to be that many people will make the following mistake. They're going to pray mincha gedolah, and they say, oh, you know what, let's make tashlich now, we're already here at mincha, and that's a mistake, because tashlich is supposed to be made specifically right before shkiyat hamad. There's a time for the tashlich to be made. It's not made after mincha, it's made right before shkiyah. However, the Bein Ish Chai says that if somebody, let's say, forgets or is honest and cannot make tashlich on the first day of Rosh Hashanah, then you can make it on the second day. And then when you make it on the second day, it's preferable to make it after Musaf, after the Tikkiot. Then you don't want to do it in Minchatam, because Minchatam is Bishat Adin. Adrabah. On the second day, you don't have the commemoration of the anniversary of Adam Arishon. It would be better on the second day to make it right after the Tefillah, after Musaf, after the Tikkiot. Finally, of course, on Motzei Hag, meaning the Motzei Shabbat, the ladies are going to light the candles. They have to remember to say Baruch HaMavdil Ben Kodesh LeKodesh before they're going to light the candles of the Yom Tov. Lastly, the Kiddush or the Havdalah Motzei is Yak Nahaz, Yain Kiddush Ner Havdalah Zeman. So one has to prepare the Ner. The Ner, preferably, we hold, should be an avukah, should be like a torch. Problem is, if you can use your regular ner, a big torch over there, you light it from an existing candle. Then what are you going to do? How are you going to put it out? You can't put it out. So you're going to be stuck with this big torch over here until after the holiday. It's unpractical. Therefore, one has to make preparation. They sell these small little candles over here, small little torch about an inch high, and if you prepare it from before and you light it from existing, by the time Havdalah is over, it'll go out. So therefore, it's a practical item to use. Or, Echad Ben Sion says you could use the nerot of Yom Tov that the wife lit. However, Echad Ben Sion says in that case over there, you shouldn't put them together to make an avukah. Not that it's a suit to put them together, but it'll be a suit to take them apart because it's kibui. And then we have to stay there for the rest of the holiday like that. So therefore, Echad Ben Sion says it's better to forget about the humrah of abukah, and make meoreh esh on a regular ner of the nerot Yom Tov, even on one, without having to put them together, so you don't have to come to the problem of kibui by separating it. So again, you have to pay attention again to all these adjustments and tikkunim. Of course, it goes without saying, in the Amidah itself, one has to add in the parentheses where it says Shabbatot, Bekadesh, Shabbat, Yisrael Yom HaZikaron, etc. If a person forgets to mention the Shabbat in the Amidah, clearly you would have to repeat the Amidah.
Regarding Hadlakat Tov, let's begin with our scenario this year, where the holiday is on Friday night, which coincides with Shabbat. So therefore the ladies would light candles like they light every Erev Shabbat, 18 minutes before sunset, and they would make a berachad hadlik ner shel Shabbat ve'yom tov. They would add Yom Tov because of the holiday. And that would be again 18 minutes before sunset. Regarding Saturday night, which is the second night of Yom Tov, they also are supposed to light candles. Question is, when do they light candles on the second night of Yom Tov? Halakha says it's most proper to light it when the men come home from knis, when they come home from synagogue, right before you sit down to have the seudah, the ladies should go to the candles and light them. But keep and make the beracha on the second night, l'hadlik ner shel Yom Tov, because obviously it's no longer Shabbat. But one has to keep in mind that you can only light candles from an existing flame. So therefore, as we've said previously, one has to prepare an existing flame, a candle that's there, ner batala, where somebody has it prepared in order to take the flames from there. But there's a problem that many people are not aware of. After, for example, the lady lights the candles from the existing flame, sometimes just without thinking, they blow out the candle, or they shake it out. Now, according to the halakha, it's definitely forbidden to extinguish candles on Yom Tov. While it's permissible to light from an existing flame, but to extinguish for sure is asur. So you have to tell them very carefully just to place it down and let it go out by itself, but not to shake it, or certainly not to blow it out on the holiday. There is no shehiyanu made at the time of hadlakat nerot. The ladies rely on the shehiyanu that's made in the kiddush. Now, once already we're on the subject of nerot, we have a custom, it's brought down in the halakha, not to say b'meh madlikin this Friday night because it's Yom Tov also. Even though every Friday night we say b'meh madlikin, which discusses the laws of how to light candles, what oils are kosher, what wicks are kosher, which ones are not kosher. It's our custom to read it every Friday night. However, when the holiday comes out on a Friday night, we skip it. Different reasons were given. Very quickly, one reason is because not all the laws are the same on Shabbat and Yom Tov regarding kosher wicks and oils. So therefore, since the laws vary on Yom Tov, we skip it. Other reasons are also brought down in the Mishnah Berurah, in Siman Resh Ayin. Lastly, just going back, regarding making the beracha on the Nerot Shabbat. There is a machloket, which comes first, the lighting or the blessing? Some make the beracha first, which would make logical sense, always to make the beracha and then perform the mitzvah. Others light first, and then they make the beracha. Because they hold that when you're going to make the beracha, it's as if you're accepting Shabbat. So how could you accept Shabbat? How could you light the candles? It's Shabbat already. But that logic would apply for Shabbat. But on Yom Tov, everybody would agree you should make the beracha first and then light. Because you're allowed to light on Yom Tov. So therefore, the beracha is not an acceptance of anything. So therefore, it's proper to make the beracha, l'adlik ner shel Yom Tov first, and then to light. Even those that are making all year round the opposite way, that's for Shabbat. But for Yom Tov, it's proper to go to the regular way, to make the beracha first, and then light.